No,
She
I
don't ride
told
a
her again,
Suzuki.
and she was saying she didn't want to be.
As
Or
long
no,
as I can put the, as
he
long as I
said
can put the
you
picture
sure.
on of her when she was 7 racing from Pagoda or something
Yeah.
in her pigtails.
Hey, go get me your trophy in
Go
there.
get your trophy with the picture.
All right, everybody. Hey, it's Jim Bull with Brapp Mag Media. I think we're live on Facebook. I never really do know. Maybe, hey, Kirsten can take a look and see if we're live, because I can't tell when we're
Right.
talking here like this. Welcome to episode 4 of Track Talk. We're a weekly Tuesday night show here. I'm Jim Bull. I made my way back to the races this year, and I have the privilege tonight of bringing on some very special racers here that I've known, some for quite a while and some I just met. But before we get into that, I do have a sponsor for tonight's show that I want to mention. Reese Firestone from Pro Action Suspension out in New Jersey. Reese has been fixing the sticks for over 19 or since 1999. I was going to say 19 years. Don't get old like me, guys, because you can't remember stuff. Reese has been working on suspension for a long, long time out there in New Jersey, Delaware area. You can check him out online at pro-actionnj.com or give him a call at 856-204-2195. He's right there in Millville, New Jersey. I'm sure he'll be happy to help you out. Now we got that out of the way. All right, guys, how you doing?
Good.
Good, everybody
Great.
good? So a lot of you know I'm back at Dublin Gap doing the announcing this year, and this guy named Dobbs stuck his head up in the booth a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool to do like a Team Suzuki interview and get the Carsten boys on, and maybe Robbie and me, and we'll just talk some smack and see what happens?" I said, "Let's do it." So thanks, Dobbs, for getting this set up. Thanks, Frank, for getting this set up for us.
Yep, Frank.
All right. So hey, why don't we start with you, Jim? Let's just go down the line and tell everybody out there watching who you are, where your hometown, maybe your name, hometown, your age, and what classes you race
Uh,
currently.
James Dobbs, hometown's Wanabottom, Pennsylvania, but living in Carlisle, Pennsylvania now. I race the 45 plus, 50 plus, and sometimes I'll go into the 40 BC and try to run with the kids. So sometimes I do good, sometimes I don't in that class. So
Okay, cool. Rob McWhorter, tell us who you are.
I'm Robbie McWhorter. I'm in Emmitsburg, which is not far from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, for anyone that doesn't know. I'm running the 45 and 50 plus, and when they'll let me, I'll run 55 plus. Um, this year they're not racing the A riders. They're not having us in the 55 plus, so we'll see what happens for next year. But the Master Series still allows, they have a separate A class, so I run 55 plus there.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you. Hey, Cory and Barry Carsten, how you guys tonight?
We're good.
Good, good. So, Barry, I think most people in the world know who you are, but give us a shout out. What's going on?
Barry Carsten, from Bayville, New Jersey. We're about a mile from the bay, about 10 miles from the ocean. Travel to Pennsylvania, Maryland, New York every weekend to go race, and we enjoy it.
All right, cool. Cory.
What's going on? I'm Cory Carsten, son of Barry Carsten, legend. But I race Suzuki RMZ 450. I've been racing the Nationals, and I did all Supercross. So you can see me out there in the number 281.
Cool. And Cory, did you make all the night shows this year?
I made them all except one. The last
Good.
round, I had a horrible, horrible weekend. But well, actually, I had a good weekend because that was the Pulp MX race weekend, and I did pretty good in that. I made some money, and then the next day was a pretty bad day. But
Yeah. Well, you have those now and then, right?
yeah, you have that. You have to have one bad race, I would say.
Yep. Yep. So while I got you guys, like Barry, I know I interviewed you one time before. I think it was at Sleepy Hollow. It was probably 15 years ago. And like today, I was just pulling, I've been going back into my archives and pulling some old stuff. And I pulled my very first issue out that I did a motorcycle racing action and just posted some results. And there I got, this is 2002. I got Cory Carsten uh, finishing really good at Motorama. And then at the Daytona Supercross, you finished 16th overall in the 250 Premier class that year. That's cool, man.
Thank you.
I want to ask you what, how long have you been doing this? And what was your first bike that you ever owned?
My first bike I had was a Honda Mini Trail 50.
Okay.
The old ones where you turn the handlebars and you can
Fold
get it
down,
out of
yeah.
the way, and stick the bike in the trunk. That was a hand-me-down from my brother. And then my first race bike was a YZ 80, and that was a 1979.
Wow.
It was
Something that
a
wasn't a Suzuki, huh?
Yeah.
no, it was not a Suzuki.
And how did you get started? Was your dad a racer? Someone in your family racing, or what happened?
No, my dad liked to ride. Where we lived, we have sand pits around us. We lived on a dirt road. We had a trail right at the end of the road, and it was just easy access for us to go riding. You went out in the pit, and there was 3 or 4 people out there all the time. And my best friend growing up at the time, um, came home with a trophy one weekend after, we've been riding all week together, and he went racing, and I was jealous as hell.
I bet.
So,
You're already racing around the sand pits, right?
yeah, and what it was we had a sand pit, and there was a little, aftermarket supplier there that sold tires and stuff called Alice's. And you buy your fuel there, you could buy your gas there, you could buy chain lube, all that. But it was a little accessory shop for bikes, dirt bikes. And he said that, they talked to his dad and they followed him out, and they all sat, as a team out there and drove together. So I told my dad, and he said, "Nah, no way, we ain't gonna do that." And next thing you know, I had my dad out the pit, and he was talking to the guy, and next thing you know, 55 years later, I'm still racing.
That's so cool,
So,
man.
That is
so my
cool.
dad liked it, we liked it, and I still enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle for sure. So that leads into Cory. Cory, how old when you started with? I mean, did you grow up like 2 years old, like a lot of racer kids?
I definitely grew up at the track. I heard plenty of stories of my dad walking the track, burping me when I was a baby, walking around Supercross track and all that from a bunch of guys. I heard all them stories. I don't think I started riding too early. I think I started riding maybe around 6 or 7, more earlier.
Yeah, he got a bike and didn't like it at first, and it was a weird thing. He got it for Christmas and didn't want to ride it till summer, you know, until I actually had friends coming over riding little bikes, and then
Yeah,
he wanted to.
because I honestly don't remember you like. I mean, I've been around your whole life, but I don't remember you racing minis a lot or anything like that.
Well, my whole life growing up, I played soccer, and
Okay.
and we kind of put soccer before racing because that was more of a team sport and all that. And I was really good soccer player growing up, so we kind of, for me, we always put the soccer before the racing. So kind of
So,
sometimes I would go play soccer and then show up at the track late and not even race or just not even race at all, and then he would be there all day racing.
yeah, and that's one thing I learned as a dad. Just because you like to do something doesn't mean your kid does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, love it now though.
So, what year do you think that it kind of hooked for you? What year? How old were you when you said, "Man, I think the soccer's kind of done, and I want to do this"?
Well, pretty much, I would say pretty much high school is so high school. I played travel soccer for a couple teams, and that kind of started not getting fun. But high school was really fun. And then once after high school ended, I just kind of stuck right to motocross and just stuck racing with everything. Because I
Yeah,
did
that's
get some
kind of where I
scholarship.
remember you, like college boy, and getting into those kind of divisions, the B
Yeah,
classes, and
when I started to get, I would say progressing on a bike and stuff was when kind of like super minis, like later on the
yeah,
85s.
yeah.
At 50s and 65s, I was really nothing much. But then I would say like 85s is when I started at least winning locally and stuff. And then it started getting better and better.
And I guess you've kind of always been on the Suzuki, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
yeah. And how about you, Barry? When did you make? I mean, I
Um,
always remember you riding the yellow bikes. I mean,
yeah. So I started racing when I was 12. I turned pro when I was 17 in 1986, and in 1989 is when I switched to Suzuki's.
okay.
It was basically about contingency. Yamaha at the time had contingency, and they dropped it for the following year. And that was a big part of my
Oh
you
yeah,
know
keeps you out there, right? Yeah.
yeah. So I kind of looked into it, and figured out if I went out and bought my own Suzuki's, and Suzuki did have contingency, that I would, and I would do about the same as I did the year before. I would make more money than, because one dealership was giving me a free bike, and then I'd buy a bike. So it was, I'd make more money than just getting a free bike from somebody for myself. So I ended
Right.
up switching. And right off the bat, Montgomeryville Cycle hooked me up real good, and actually gave me a bike to use right off the bat. So it kind of worked out perfect. And I did good on it for a few years, and then Suzuki actually helped me out for 3 years, as good as they could,
Okay.
free bikes, parts, no travel expense money, no wisdom, but they gave me the opportunity with the parts and bikes they want, I'm talking 6 bikes a year.
Oh,
And
wow. That's huge.
yeah,
Yeah.
Really?
yeah. And for 3 years, they gave me a chance to be, what I could be. And I appreciated that. And that's kind of why I've been staying with them, because nobody ever offered me anything better.
Right. Right. A little bit of loyalty goes a long way,
Yeah.
right? They help to get it going. So maybe we'll come back to some of that in a little bit. Let's switch over to Robbie. Robbie, Suzuki guy for a long time or just now or
On and off, but my real support was from Suzuki, from a small dealer in Delaware, and
okay.
they gave me a couple bikes 2 years in a row, and on a parts allowance and stuff like that. And I suppose it was a lot to do with the dealership, but supported by Suzuki, right? So again, I always have a place in my heart for Suzuki, and I've had Suzuki street bikes, and I was searching for the best support, so I didn't always stay with Suzuki, but I would always go back to Suzuki, if I couldn't, if I didn't find a deal that worked for me, although I will say that I wouldn't ride something if it was a bike that, I wouldn't just ride a bike because it was the cheapest bike or a free bike or something like that. Like I genuinely always felt like that when I had Suzuki's that they were the best thing I could be on.
Yeah, it's going to work for you. You're comfortable on the bike. It's
Yeah.
going to get the job done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
free
also,
that breaks doesn't cut it, or whatever.
yeah. And I also, I'm a certified motorcycle mechanic, and I don't do that for a living anymore. But I went to AMI in Daytona, and I lived in Florida for a year and a half, and so I've worked at a lot of Suzuki dealerships, and I always found that they were of the different brands. They were one of the best brands to work with if you had trouble with anything. So
Okay.
The representatives that would come out to the dealerships were the easiest to work with. I always got a better response from those guys, and got more support as a mechanic through Suzuki really than some of the brands that everybody considers to be more powerful.
Yeah, when you work inside in the industry, you get to see things like that not maybe the
Yeah,
average guy knows about, and it's important for sure. So what's
yeah.
what's your first bike? How old? What was it?
Around the '68 Honda QA50. So
Okay,
the bike before
the
Barry's
mini
first
trail.
bike. So
Yeah,
the big difference was it was a hardtail, and it was only 2 speed.
2-speed
So
tranny.
yeah, so my grandmother gave that to me, and she lived in Virginia, so I would go and stay with her in the summers, and it was all dirt roads, so I would just ride that around and stuff. And then eventually I wound up with a '79 YZ80. But I didn't know what motocross was. I was just a trail rider.
Right.
Um, and until I was 17 years old, I met some guys that raced, and that's how I got into racing.
Yeah, well, back in the 70s, it was tough, man. I mean, I discovered motocross like we were in the mountains and I had my XR 75 and we went by the snowmobile club and they had a motocross race there and we stopped, dust everywhere. It's like, and like 100 guys and 75 of them were riding XR 75s. It was so cool. I was like, Dad, I got to do this. And he was like, your dad, Barry. Nope. We ain't doing that. So yeah, you kind of happen upon it.
Yeah. Well, my parents, when I met some people back in the woods, and these guys had all the gear and all the fancy stuff. I had a helmet and some boots, but I just had jeans and a t-shirt, and I wasn't going fast. I was just riding through trails. And these
Yeah.
guys are, oh, you should come to a race with us this weekend. So I went, and I didn't want, I was shy about it. Didn't want my parents or any family there. So their mother signed for me. It was a mama race at Aquasco. and you know, I didn't do very well, but I just loved it, and I knew that that's what I was going to want to do with my life. So that's how I got started.
Cool. And we talked a little bit off screen before we started here. You've been racing the entire time. You said you had some injury that you had to deal with at some point, or you've been a racer most of your life since then, you think? Or
So I started racing in '87 and raced pretty like in '89. I got my pro license and started trying to qualify for stuff. I only qualified for a handful of stuff, but you know, I just really enjoyed being at the track and riding. Like back then, I'm sure Barry will remember the practice were just open practices. They weren't segregated. You know, had this practice on Friday that was an open practice. So I'd be out there on the track, you know, with Barry, with Damon Bradshaw or Jean-Michel Bale, whoever
was there,
these
right?
guys are right there with you. So I would have paid a lot of money just to go get to ride with those guys every weekend. So, or I guess you should say I did pay a lot of money just to go ride with those guys. But,
Cool.
you know, so that was, you know, I got started a little bit late, but I think I did pretty well. And, but then, you know, with some injuries and stuff like that, I had, you know, several times throughout my life where I just, you know, didn't ride for, you know, a few years here and there, but I've always kind of stayed in it. And you know, when I wasn't racing, I would go and do some riding. And like I was talking about before the show, for the last 15 years of my life, I've been dealing with some pretty severe back problems. And in the end of 22, my back finally gave out. I was in so much pain that I couldn't walk, and we had to do an emergency surgery to have L4, L5 fused. And after that surgery, you know, it took me within 6 months, I was riding again with the doctors. You know, he cleared me, said, you can ride, you can start riding. And at the end of that year, I raced at Budds Creek, and I did pretty well. I think I finished second in 2 classes. And to me, just to ride again, like I thought that was the end of motorcycles. And then I raced that one race, and then I just started riding again. And I got talked into racing the full season last year by a few friends, and raced the whole season with no, you know, I was scared that my back would hurt again and stuff, even though the doctor says you won't have any problems. But to this day, I still have zero pain. You know, I'm actually able to train and, you know, do whatever I want. Like, I'm not afraid to over jump stuff. Like before, I was so scared I would land hard and my back would be done and that would be it again. But
well, you either had a really good doctor or God wants you racing motocross. So we'll run with whatever works, right?
But both of those things are true, 100%.
Good. So I got to ask you, and I asked you again before we started, you got more guitars or more motorcycles?
More guitars for sure.
Okay. And what are you better at, playing guitar or racing motorcycles?
When I was in high school, before I raced, I played music a lot, and I pretty much gave all of that up. Just, you know, when I realized I wanted to be good at motocross, that's all I focused on. You know, I knew that I started late. A lot of people, the friends that I met and stuff, all said that, you know, I really probably wouldn't make it very far because I started too late.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see it that way. I saw that, you know, not knowing what I know now, I just saw that, you know, I'm going to do everything I can to be the best I can at it. You know, I didn't drink or do any drugs or I spent all of my efforts. I mean, my bike lived in the back of my pickup truck. And if I had 15 minutes of daylight, I would go ride the bike for 15 minutes. So,
and I'm sure playing guitar, you know, you gotta, if you're going to be good at either thing, you got to do it all the time, right? If you're not picking the guitar up.
But that's the problem with the guitar. So I tell people I'm a better guitar collector than I am a player. So
all right, cool. Well, we'll run with that. And just so everybody knows, Robbie's doing pretty good on the bike after back surgery. I got you leading 45 or second in 45 plus and second in 50 plus in the MDRA series, and I think you're up top in the Dublin Gap series right now, right? After about 5 rounds each.
I haven't been looking at all the points, but I know I already used some drops. You know, when they take the drops out, I'll still be in pretty good shape.
Cool. Cool.
And the Masters, I'm leading 50 and 55 also.
Nice. And they get good turnouts, right? You get a lot of riders there, don't you? In those classes?
55 plus is a really good turnout. Unfortunately, no Suzuki contingency. There's some other
Oh,
contingencies, but
yeah.
maybe next year.
Okay. Well, we'll get back to you, Rob. Thanks, man. I want to get over to this
Yep.
Dobbs guy because I have like a little mystery with him. I'm Frank, Jim, whoever you are. I've known you a long time, man, and I think we met way back at Happy Ramblers or Dublin Gap back when I first
Yeah.
started doing MRA. And you always seem to be right out there doing good, and then sometimes maybe not. You got them muddy days. You got your white uniform looking fresh over everybody else, right? But I'm like.
Yeah.
I don't know this guy. Like, were you a pro? Did you ride pro for a while? I mean, you
No,
have
never.
it when you want to have it, right? You
Yeah.
know?
My story's a little different than them three guys there.
Well, let's
So,
hear it, man.
well, my first bike was the mini bike with the Briggs and Stratton motor.
Oh, okay. You're one of those
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up on a farm. My dad bought me that when I was young, so I rode that around. And then we were out to dinner one night, the family, and the riders came in to the restaurant up in Shippensburg, and my dad was talking to him, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we raced out at Hideaway." So about a week later, we went out and checked it out, and then met the Reasoners. My dad went and bought me a YZ80,
Okay.
and we bought a bunch of used equipment and used the gear off the Reasoners, and we went racing. And then my brother, I think I was 14. I was 14. My brother, he was 7. So my dad got him a little KX60, and yeah, we just went racing from there. So I was 14 when I started, and my
What year
brother
are we talking, Jim?
14. I was now 80. Phew. Yeah, I graduated probably like 87,
Okay.
88, 86, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim hit his head more than we did.
Oh yeah, a lot. Oh yeah.
It must be the name because I got the same problem. I spent more time on the ground than I did on the bike. So,
I do have a few concussions, I ain't gonna lie. So yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so then we just went
Mid
racing, and
strength.
my dad bought my dad bought a panel van then off the neighbor, and we had a panel van and went racing. And my brother, however, he went A class. My brother, I guess him trying to catch me on the little 60 when I was on an 80 and I got a 125, he was still on a 60. He ended up like starting to kick my butt. So yeah, he went A, and he rode A for a while, for a little
But he
bit.
doesn't do it anymore.
No,
No, no.
no, here and there he will, but that's
And have
it.
you been racing ever since then, Jim?
Yeah, I stopped for about 8 years. When I turned 21, I stopped, and then I got back into it at like 29.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. You ever chase any Loretta Lynn stuff or do any?
I did. Oh yeah, it's a good story. Barry knows this one. So well, you want to tell it, Barry, or you want me to tell it?
And it started.
Okay, so we're out at High Point, and it was a mutter, and it was bad, and I mean it rained and rained and rained. So I went out for the 45 class, and I crashed and broke my lever off or whatever, and I came back up later, and then Barry's there at this fence, we're watching, and I said, I'm not going out for 50. I said, this track's terrible. And he goes, no, you need to go out. You never know what'll happen. And I said, well, you never know, but that track was so bad. It was so muddy and everything. And well, I ended up going out, and I think I ended up like 11th or 12th overall. And a lot of the guys that did better out there, they didn't end up going to Loretta's. So I bumped up the list.
Gotcha.
I was the first alternate that year, and a guy called me from Tennessee on Facebook. He got a hold of me on Facebook and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know you're in because I crashed my mountain bike training for Loretta's." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, MX Sports never called me till Thursday, and Barry and we were leaving Friday, so I wasn't ready for anything. So I get down there, and that's why I always ride Suzuki. They took me under the tent. They gave me Kyle Chisholm's number plates for my bike. So I was number 11 down there then for the week.
And how long ago was this?
This was what, 2 years ago, Barry?
Years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah. And I'm down there talking to everybody, and I was like standing in line. I told some of the guys know this story. Standing in line, and Jeff Emick and Mike Brown were there talking, and they're mechanics or whatever. And I went up to Emick, mechanic, and they were standing there, and I go, "Who usually wins down here?" And they like, "Well, I don't know, one of these guys." And I said, "Not this year." And I turned around and walked to the back of the line. You should
See,
have
I'm
seen them
taking a
look at
year
each
off,
other like,
right?
who's this guy?
How'd you get
So,
in?
oh man, so yeah, I don't know. I think I got like 32nd or 34th overall that year. I was not prepared for that 116-degree weather racing, and I was not prepared for that. So,
Well, our goal was top 30, and you did get
yep.
a 29th in a moto, though.
Yes, I did. I did. Yes. So,
That was, you have to have a goal. You know, what I mean,
yes,
every
yeah,
Still,
yeah,
everybody can't win a national, but you know,
yeah,
have a goal, and you got to try
yep,
to, you know,
right.
avoid that.
So we get down to you pull a coin down there for your number to get
right.
on. I'll never forget it. So I go first, and I pulled like, what was it, like 32, and then Barry pulls, and he was like 33 or something. It was like crazy. So yeah,
So
but that was
speaking
fun.
of Loretta Lynn's, Barry Karsten, do you
Yep.
know how many you've been to, or how many you've raced at?
Well, I I did the first two they ever had there. Uh,
Okay, cool.
I want to say 83 and 84.
Okay,
And you know, and what we all forgot to say off so far is our parents are what got us racing. You know, what I mean, we're all kids. You know, what I mean, they bought us bikes, they took us racing. So, you know, thanks to them in every family and every kid, that's how they got
right.
us. So, but we go down there, and you know, I was into racing pretty big at that time, and we get down there, got brand new bikes. You know, maybe a few hours on each of them, and we get there, and it rains all week long, and you can't even see the track. I mean, the track now is kind of built up, so the water drains. You know, so even on a 2 inch day rain, the track is still higher than the water on the sides.
Right.
Get down there, and we're just trashing brand new bikes, and we get done with the weekend, and I think I got like 11th overall in 250A, and 13th overall in 125A. And I said, man, I would just rather, I'd love to do this every weekend and ride a big race, but you'd have to turn pro to do that. So following year we turned pro, and then I went on a pro career forever. And once I retired in 2008, um, my next goal was to get Cory to qualify for Loretta's. And it took us to Super Minis. And that's when I started going back, and I've been doing it ever since. So, so
So you
yeah, I did the first two, and I took a 35-year break, and then I went
right,
back to Cory.
and now you're at 40 plus, 50 plus, and still kicking
Right. And
butt,
now I've
right?
been back 15 years now, and
Yeah.
so
So
it's
I'll ask you this question again. I asked you this one time. I think it was at Raceway Park. When you stopping?
I mean, hopefully I never have to stop. Hopefully I can ride and race forever. We're starting to figure out that we're running out of classes though. I guess the Master Series, we could probably ride them and just keep going and going. But
So you're not quite 60 yet, are you?
I turned 60 this year right after
Okay.
Loretta.
I knew you were getting close. Yeah.
Yeah, Loretta's doesn't have a 60 class. They only go up to 50. So now when you go down there, I'm going to give them guys 10 years, right off the bat. So you got new guys coming up, and but you have that every weekend and stuff. So, but
Well, I
we just
loved your answer the first time I asked you that question. And I don't know how long ago it was. I mean, I've been in Potter County for 5 years, so it had to be at least 7 or 9. I don't know. It's been a while when I asked you that question. How long are you going to do it? And you're like, well, why would I? Or I asked you when you quit. And it's like, well, why would I do that?
yeah.
'Cause I just love that
Yeah,
answer
kidding.
because you're a guy that's been doing it forever. It's like, why would I do that?
I mean, I did it my whole life, so so that kind of was a weird question for me, like
Yeah, yeah. And you're still working, I guess. You still have your business?
me and Cory were out working, fixing campers, changing air conditioners today,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, Thursday we have to take off, and we got to go to Daniel Bromley's wake.
Oh man, what a tragedy.
Mine. Yeah, just heartbreaking. And then after that, we head right to Southwick Thursday night to get for
Right.
Tech on Friday.
How long were you with in the Bromley camp?
Um, 15, 20 years. It was a long time.
So they closed up, right? And then you switched over to action, or
Yep, they closed up, so we had nowhere else to go. So we went up, Mike was a good friend of ours. We went over to, Action Motorsports out of York, Pennsylvania, and
yeah,
he's been hooking us up ever since.
yeah,
They sell all the brands, so when we moved there, it was easier. Not everybody rides a Suzuki, so we can bring other guys there that ride a
yeah,
Yamaha
yeah.
or
Husky.
That's my
Husky.
background. I worked there 10 years before Mike's family bought it. It was
Right.
still
Yeah.
Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki of York. So
Mhm.
yeah, back in the day. So Corey, how about you? You been to Loretta's super many days? Have you been many trips there? Or?
Yeah, so my first year I ever made it, I never made it on 50s or 60s. It was in the 85 class, I think what, 9 to 11? 9 to 11. It was the
Yeah.
one of the younger 85 classes. Went down there, got my butt kicked. I was like maybe 32nd, 35th, something like that.
Yeah.
Super mini year. So I think I did like the 85 2 years and then finally moved up to the super mini. Um, I had a couple good races on them. There's actually an old YouTube video of I think it's Cody Shock has a GoPro on. It's me, him, and Joe Samota actually battling in super
Oh,
mini
no
class.
way.
Yeah, I think we're battling for maybe like 10th, 11th, or 12th in that moto.
Cool.
We're just coming through the pack. So that was a good year. And then finally moved up to big bikes. And I went there in the 250B classes and the open B, 450B. And my best finish there was a fourth overall. So that was in the open B. And that year, my buddy Alex Inferna, he crashed at Englishtown and he was in a coma for a few weeks and stuff like that. So all I wanted to do was get on the podium for him. And I just missed it every race.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's all right. He's doing great now and
Good.
well,
Good.
but
And Barry, you won a bunch of championships there, right? Over the years, mostly the age classes.
No, never won a championship. Won a
Oh,
moto.
really?
Yes, I won a moto. A lot of seconds, a lot of thirds.
I know, a lot of top fives, yeah.
Yeah, me and Gruy had a lot of battles. Then Mike Brown came in, then Emmett came back, and none of them guys usually lose their speed. They just kind of maybe get a little
Got a
tired
little
of
older,
it.
right? Yeah.
Right, but yeah. So it got hard. Mike got hurt. I think Emmett got tired of doing it. And last year was probably my year to win. And old Frenchie come out and kick my butt,
Frenchie,
you know. Um,
crazy French
I
man.
mean, I kind of did the same thing I do every year. I train and work and did my best, but it just wasn't good enough. So we got one more year in us, and we'll try to do it then.
Okay, cool. How about your best pro finish? What year, what class?
Uh, well, I had two. Best pro finish was Budds Creek mud race. Got a fourth place in the first moto.
Okay.
Probably 16 guys finished the moto
Okay.
because bikes blowing up. It was so muddy, they were stuck. And I ran about sixth or seventh the whole race. And two guys, the leader DNF that on the last lap, Matt Walker.
Okay.
It was going to be his first win, but he DNF'd. I lapped Carmichael actually
Oh,
in that
cool.
race. And yeah, so I ended up fourth that moto. And then next moto, I finished like an 18th or 19th. And I think I got like 11th overall. So
Okay, cool. Cool.
it was a miserable day, so it wasn't.
Well, that's usually when that kind of stuff happens, you know.
Right, yeah,
You
but
get them freak weather conditions and
but
you know.
hey, I wasn't quitting, and it helped me. So
Cool.
yeah.
Cool.
And then I had two Supercross podiums. That was
Oh, nice.
nesting. My first year was in Foxborough. Shoot, I don't remember what year that was, but got a third place behind Mike Jones and Denny Stevenson. And then a few years later, I got a third place at Atlanta, at the old Fulton County Stadium Supercross.
Right.
And that was with like Tim Ferry and a few other new guys, back in the day. So
Okay.
that's my highlights in my pro career.
Yeah, yeah.
And a couple hole shots here and there,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah. You get up
Uh,
front, run a lap or two, right? Yeah.
Barry,
Let
you
me
got to
get back
tell
to you.
Barry was the East Coast points leader. Tell him that you were the East Coast points leader in the 125.
Well, you know how they have the
Yeah.
East-West shootouts?
Yeah.
Well, the first round for the East Coast race was in Texas. Well, it was an East-West shootout. Um, the West Coast already had three races, so this was going to be our first race. So we go in, and I end up getting a fourth at the race, you know, within the East-West shootout. So when we go back east next weekend to Atlanta, I'm actually winning the points because I was the first East Coast rider.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So the Weeds mails me a number one plate because they never gave me a red number one plate back in the day. So
Did
he
you ever
wanted me
mess
to have
around
my
with
plate.
you ever run any of the arena cross stuff or no?
Yeah, we did them. We ran the Arena Cross series with Coombs. We finished like second or third overall in the series. They took us to the Bahamas. I
Oh,
mean,
cool.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
The I think the AMA is on what, the Queen Mary or something. They have their banquet every year. Is that?
I don't know.
It's a boat that just sits
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Like, we gotta do one better than that. Let's go on a boat that moves.
Yeah,
So
right. Let's go somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, so he took the whole Arena Cross series, quads and bikes, and gave us a trip to the Bahamas.
That's
And
nice.
that's something I never forgot too.
Yeah, I
You know?
bet. How about you, Robbie? You never did. I think you never did any pro stuff, right?
Yeah, I had my pro license
Oh, okay.
for my pro am license for almost 15 years.
Okay,
Only
cool.
qualified for a few. Mate, what the that real muddy race that Barry was talking about, maybe it's not the same one, but my best race was actually qualified for the main event on a 500, and I think it was the last year that they had 500s. Um,
Good
so
old days.
yeah, so that was a bike that I really enjoyed riding, but like the Daytona Supercross back then, I think they took more riders to the main. I didn't make it to the main, but I made it to into the night show. A lot of times back then, I think you had to qualify just to get into the qualifiers,
Right.
and then you had to race. Back then, you had to race to qualify. It wasn't, by lap times. Um, I think I would have did a little better if we did it by lap times because I got horrible starts. And I missed qualifying by one spot almost every weekend. I missed by one spot. And at one point, I got so frustrated, I just stopped going to the pro races and I started chasing money at like local races and went
Right.
down south, North Carolina and Virginia. There was a lot of money down there. So, but I always still kept the pro card so I could still, go to the local nationals and stuff. And actually, I even got my FIM license, and I was able to get into the when Budds Creek had the MXGP there. The 125 class was invitation only, and Beasley got me into that, so I was able to race that support class for the MXGP that year.
Nice. And we were talking about this at track the other day. I forget who I was talking to. I think lots of times you can make more money, as an A guy just running local pro-ams. If you got the right contingency program
Yeah,
and
for
running the right,
sure.
chasing the right races, you could probably make some pretty good dough, huh?
Yeah, I mean some of
Compared-
those races, like Mike Brown would show up at some of them. There was a fall classic series that they did that started down at Birch Creek and went around to a bunch of tracks and it ended up at Redbud, and Todd DeHoop ran that whole series, and that series was 250 open, so I rode the 500 and 250 class the whole time, and I always remember it was kind of on my mind this weekend because of Redbud, and I remember being at that round at Redbud, and I would always start right next to Todd because I knew I wasn't going to beat him, but I knew if I started next to him, I was going to get the whole shot, and at least he'd be behind me for a while. And that weekend it was really windy, and Laraco's leap was different back then. There was a much longer run up to it, but certainly on a 500, it wasn't a problem to get over it. But it was super windy, so I pulled the whole shot to first moto and get over to Laraco's leap, and I'm like, it's windy, but I'm going for it. So I jump it and look back, and Todd's back there behind me. So maybe the second or third lap, Todd passed me and I got second. So the second moto, I lined back up next to him. By this point of the series, Todd's tired of starting next to this 500 and eating all the
Who is
roosts.
this guy, right?
Every
Yeah.
moto, right, for the first 3 laps. And he's like, this guy on his 500. I'm like, yeah, right here, man, right next to you. And he says, "What? It's pretty windy. I mean, the flags were just sitting straight out, right? It's just way too windy to be jumping that jump." And Todd's like, "Are you going to jump that?" I said, "Nah, I don't think we're jumping that this moto. It's way too windy." So, of course, I pull the whole shot and I get around to Larocco's leap, and I'm going for it because Todd the Hoop's behind me.
Right.
So I hit it. And I look back at him, and he's shaking his finger. And as we're going over the jump, he's shaking his finger at me. Like, "Well, you said you weren't going to jump it." But
That
that
changed
was
my
the
mind,
fun,
Todd.
yeah, super fun memory of Redbud and back in those days on the 500.
That's cool. That's cool. So I asked you the same question I just asked Barry. How long are you going to keep doing it?
Oh, like him. I mean, now I just got given a whole new life now.
You're
I
dialed in,
mean,
right? You're feeling good. You're
I'm
riding
yeah,
good.
yep. I'm
Why
back
stop?
to
I
yeah,
see you got an Action Motorsports shirt on. You riding for Mike Bear?
yep, yeah. Mike's a good friend, and I've bought other some street bikes and stuff like that from him. He's always got a good, like Barry said, he's got all the different brands. Pretty much can make everybody happy. I feel like when I go there, I don't, you know, I don't go there asking for, looking for some special deal. I know to treat me good. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the way he keeps his customers is he doesn't charge, he's not trying to get rich off of each individual person. He gives everybody a fair price.
Well, he's a racer.
Uh,
He's done it. He knows what it takes for you
yeah.
guys to be out there, So
Yep.
yeah, and he wants to be in business. Mike's a good dude. I've known him a long, long time. So cool. Any other sponsors you want to shout out while we're on the show?
Yeah, I have a little list here just in case because my memory's not that good. I've hit my head several times too.
What?
Um, so of course, Mike, Ride by Design Suspension, Jake Claxton does an awesome job.
Good dude.
He's at the track a lot. He's sponsored the Master Series, so he's at all those races. MX Bones, he's a guy, a lot of guys know him. He's always taking care of me. He's one of my longest sponsors. Of course, O'Neill. O'Neill was one of my sponsors back when I had my pro license. And when I started racing again, I contacted them, and they were easy to get hooked up with. Works Connection helps me. Risk Racing, I get these Blues tires from Risk Racing. If anybody has not seen those tires, they work really good. If you're ever behind one of those, Barry's been behind it a couple times
Barry,
this year.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
There we
All
go.
right, time for
he
smack talk
doesn't
session.
he doesn't stay back there very long, and it's probably one of the reasons is because that tire is just feeding you to dirt.
Barry's got that easy button, Robbie. He just when it's time to
Yeah.
go, he pushes it and he just comes around you.
And Motorsport helps a little bit, and X Brand Goggles has always been good to me as well. So
Good. If you could give one pro tip to your fellow racers out there, what would it be?
one pro tip. Well,
Maybe you don't want to share.
Yeah, no, I like to share all of my stuff with all of my competition friends, everybody. Like, I want everybody to have the same fun, to be as safe as I am. And at this point in life, I mean, yeah, we're racing for a little bit of money, but we're doing this because, like Barry said, this is what we do. This is what we've always done, and to still be doing it, and
Right.
with some of the guys that were. I mean, I feel like I'm better friends with some of the guys that when we were younger, it's hard to be friends because it meant a lot more. The finishes, what place you finished meant a lot more back then. Now, what place I finished doesn't matter as much as how much fun I had while I was on the track with these guys. But as far as the pro tip, go around the bumps. I hear so many people talking about their suspension, and yeah, it's important. And again, Ride by Design can help everybody get their bike set up. But before you're so worried about changing your suspension, how about just use more of the track? I mean, there's always good places to go on the track that aren't the main line. Usually the main line by halfway through the day is too rough. So that's for me, the tip is find a different line. When it gets real bumpy, start looking at ways to go around, square up the corner and go around the ruts and the bumps.
That's good advice, man. Good advice. One more question for you, and I'm gonna ask you to stick around while we finish up with the rest of these guys. And I want you to give me, you follow pro racing, I guess?
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want your prediction on who our 250 champ's going to be this year. And I know you're thinking Cory, but I don't think he's in the points right now. But top 250 guy and top 450 guy at the end of the year, who we're going to see on top of the box?
Well, we're definitely rooting for Cory. Of course, we're always rooting for all the people that we're close to, and I think it's so awesome. There's a bunch of guys that have the second generation racers out there, so I just think it's awesome. I know it's really special for Barry to see his son out there and to spend the time together. That's awesome. So we're certainly rooting for Cory, but for the who do I think is going to win? I mean, I see Joe is starting to come alive, so I'm going to pick Joe for the 250.
Okay.
And the 450, I think Hunter's going to get it figured out, and he's going to be fine. I mean, I'm really rooting for Prado. I'm a big Prado fan.
Okay.
We're big MXGP fans. We watch the MXGPs every weekend. So we're kind of fans of some of the MXGP guys before they even get here. Super excited to see the Coonan brothers in their journey to they'll eventually wind up over here. But
they're coming to Southwick, I think.
Yeah, they'll be
Yes.
here for Southwick. Yeah, so I think Hunter will figure out that 450 and stay in there.
Cool. Well, look, man, I certainly appreciate you being on the show and getting to know you a little bit better. I look forward to calling your number from the booth at Dublin Gap, and I'm gonna hit some MDRA rounds, I think, this year. Don't tell anybody yet, but I might make it out to a couple of those races. So stick around. Frank,
That's right.
Frank, Jim Dobbs. I'm sorry, Jim
Yes.
Dobbs. We got Dobbs over here. Dobbs, thanks for putting this
Yeah.
all together, man.
Yep. No
You got
problem.
sponsors you want to talk about? Anybody you want to thank? Any stories you want to share?
I'll share a story quick. Was that last year, Barry? We were at Dutchman, and I'm like, they turned the card sideways or whatever. I'm like getting ready to go, and the gate isn't dropping, and I'm looking over and like Barry's bike sideways, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? I thought his bike stalled. He drops the gate with his he drops the gate with his foot. He put his he let the
Boot.
he asked the guy to drop, yeah, so his boot. He drops the gate, he's standing on his bike, drops the gate. I take off and go, and the announcer's up there. He's like, James Dobbs beating Barry Carsten, but well, that didn't last long. It was about a lap and a half later. He came up and he was gone. But
See,
that was funny because everybody is like, they couldn't believe he dropped the gate and then we took off. So
cool.
yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I have some sponsors, and I want to say we have another Suzuki rider, Hannah Schindel. She's 427. She races the girls class.
Okay.
She's been on a Suzuki forever too. She had a crash this past weekend at Pagoda, so she's laid up a little bit. But I wanted to say, wish her to get well and everything. So she's a fellow Suzuki yellow rider. So
She gonna be okay? Just gonna be a while, or
yeah, just to go. Yeah, she'll be okay. But
okay,
she's
good.
she's the only girl in the girls class, I think, with the kickstart bike. Oh, I mean, besides the 125s, but
Right, right.
so,
Okay.
yeah.
Sponsors?
Yeah, my courier business, direct delivery, Evo 317 Moto, Pennsylvania Lottery.
Bengay and Advil,
You
right?
what?
You know.
Huh?
Dobbs won the lottery.
Yeah, well, yeah, the one year I did a little bit, we'll say that. But anyway, Ma- Maslin, office cleaning, Brooks Graphics, my brother's graphics company, RRI Design and Race Ready Inc. And Suzuki RM Army.
Yeah,
So
man.
they help you out a lot with. I'm sure Barry and Cory are on a different maybe program. I don't know, but if you get on the RM Army program, they knock money off the bike for you. They give you a parts allowance, but they take that money also off the bike for you. So you
Okay.
can I get them like pretty cheap, so that's why. And they're
Makes a
good
big
bikes.
difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
shout out to Cory. I told you when we were going to do this, I said he was the only Suzuki in the two nationals that he was in. He was the only Suzuki on the line out of 250 and 450.
That's cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. We're gonna get to
Yep.
him in a minute. Yeah.
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 Saving
So,
the best for last.
yep. The fastest for last.
There you go. There you go. I'd have to. And anyhow, we won't talk about it. Pro tip. What's your pro tip to your fellow racers?
Number one, I'm not a pro, so I'll just give you like a weekend warrior tip. Well,
Weekend warrior tip, Dobbs.
what I say is, yeah, just stand up as much as you can. There you go.
Good, yeah.
I can't, but I always tell everybody, and you can ask Kirsten and Cory in this. I'll tell the kids or whoever, I'll say, watch what I'm doing and do the total opposite, and you'll be good.
You want to get faster? Don't do what I do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. 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 I could throw that one out too. So
Yeah.
All right. Who you picking for 250 and 450 besides Cory?
Davies.
Yeah.
I mean, you're for the championship or just this
Yeah.
next week?
Yeah. End of the year. Who's
Oh,
gonna
I'm
be?
saying
Who's gonna have the number one
Davies
plate?
Davies is on a new level right now. I don't like he's flying.
You
So
don't think Joe's got anything for him?
we'll see. But Davies and 450, I'm gonna go. I can't count Jet out. I'm gonna have to say Jet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
It's all right.
yeah. So
It's okay still to be a Jet fan, you know?
yep.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you putting this together, Frank, and being on the show and getting all the boys together and the girls. Cory and Barry Carsten. Cory, I want to talk to you, man. What you do? What are you up to? You guys are like traveling the world. First of all, there's news to share, right? Or not? We sharing that online? Does everyone know?
I don't know. Does everybody know?
They will now.
They will now. Yes. Come over here.
Come on in. Get her in there.
Get in here. Get in
Get in
here.
there. Kirsten, how you been, girl?
Hi, how are you?
Good. I haven't seen you since you were probably 14 or 15. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a
It-
while.
It has. You've been busy, haven't you? Like
I'm
out
the
there
same height.
running
I'm the
District
same height.
6 and chasing pro racers around 2020. Henrietta Steiner, District 6. You look like a champion or something?
That's Barry.
Numbers on it.
So,
Look
the
at
one-
look
Well, I
at
know
that.
it's buried on the
Guy
plaque, but you're holding it. I mean, come on. What's up with that?
and now it sits in our right in our entryway.
You know,
in our
icons.
That's the first thing we see when we walk in.
Nice. Nice. So you guys are getting hitched or something, right?
So we are,
Yes.
but fun fact is the reason Cory and I ever even started dating was because of Dobbs.
Oh, Dobbs and Frank.
Yep.
Yeah, Frank.
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 Because of Frank.
You're
Jet.
never gonna live
Thanks,
us down, Dobbs. You know, you'll be
Yeah.
Frank forever from now on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait till I get on the mic. Wow, we got Frank out front. Anyhow, go ahead. I'm sorry, Kirsten. I interrupted you.
Yeah, I was Dobbs's mechanic the year he went to Loretta's. He called me on like a Tuesday and said, "What are you doing next week?" I said, "I don't know, working. Why?" He says, "You want to go to Tennessee? I think I'm gonna go." And that's what we did. And then
And then
He
they got
raced,
down there and she
so-
traded him.
and then I
Traded him
traded
in.
him for Barry. and I
Traded
was-
him in. She picked you, right? Oh,
Yeah,
No,
I
that's
was
a Frank
his
guy.
mechanic instead.
She kicked me to the curb down there and took Barry, and she was his mechanic.
And he was on, and then Barry was on the podium.
Oh my goodness. I knew some girls like that, Frank, too. Don't you're not the only guy in the club, so don't feel bad, all right?
Yeah.
Listen, Dobbs in the in under the tent had more fun than anybody else.
Hey,
So-
Loretta
sometimes
Lynn-
it's the experience, right?
Loretta
To
Lynn's,
be-
when you get the top 10, you have to stop under the tent.
Yeah.
You interview the top 3 and everything. And Dobbs is right there with everybody.
He's right in there. 32nd man, the number 32nd man, but he got
Oh.
more 10 time than anybody.
So
Real
we
quick.
had planned
Yeah,
my third podium there. Dobbs is coming on the podium with me, but I blew that and I got a 4th that moto. So
Oh, Barry,
apologize to
come on,
Dobbs.
man.
Dobbs hooked me up that year, took me down there, paid for all my gas and everything, and he had a time of his life, and I did too. So
Oh, yeah.
Good,
It's
good.
fun.
Yeah,
time.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
guys, you're traveling the world, man. What are you up to? Canadian Nationals, Pro Nationals, Pro-Ams? What's going on? I saw you raced Daytona, what, an amateur day and won 25 plus or something too after the pro race, or?
Yeah, so I did all the Supercross and Daytona. I raced amateur day 2. This year I got second. The year before I won, but this year I got second to Michael
Okay.
Lessie.
Oh, you're behind Alessi. Yeah, I got you.
Um, then what?
Florida winner.
Yeah, then right before Supercross, I raced all the Florida Winter Series. And then just did all the Supercross rounds, and then so we went out to Colorado and then went to Salt Lake City. Those were my first time ever there doing those rounds. And then we stayed out there for 2 weeks in California and got ready for the Pro Nationals. And I did Pala and Hangtown. They didn't go so well, but then when we went back to Thunder Valley, qualified for there, and then I qualified at Hangtown. And like Dobbs said, I was the only Suzuki in there, so that was pretty cool. And then I did we had an off weekend right before, was it before Hangtown or right before High Point. We went to Canada, and once again I was the only Suzuki there too, so that was pretty cool.
Cool.
When we were going to the line for the second moto, Dylan Wright's mechanic, the Honda HRC team, he was like, dude, this is awesome, because we were the only Suzuki there, I guess we were like an ancient looking person.
Yeah, right. Where does caveman come from, right?
And if you know
And
anything
they
about
love-
Dylan Wright, like he's totally dominant in Canada right now.
Well, he was
Yeah,
six
I'm not-
six
He
before
was
this
like-
weekend, and he
Yeah, he was
won
like
the first
6'5".
moto, but his bike actually blew up in the second moto.
So his mechanic pulled me aside and was like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen, that you guys are doing this, and you're doing it on a Suzuki." I'm like, "Guys, don't forget, Suzuki just won a major championship."
just won.
How about that, right?
Washington
Yeah.
Supercross
How about that? So, like, are you doing this all on your own, pure privateer? You got any help, or what's going on there?
So I am a privateer, but do you know Likens, the Likens family?
Yeah.
They helped me out with pro motocross stuff.
Cool.
So we're a team LMR.
Okay.
And they sponsored me and they helped me out big time, and they helped me pay for some stuff and all that, and I thank them so much for it, because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be able to travel to all these rounds.
It takes a lot, right?
Yeah, it's a lot, and when you don't make some of the races, you're just spending money.
Money going out, right? Money out. Yeah. Anybody else that's helping? Any other sponsors you want to shout out?
Like I said, Suzuki, they're a big sponsor. RM Army, 110 Racing, Arai Helmets, Decal Works, Dunlap Tires, FMF Pipes, Reckless Goggles, Power Mist Race Fuel, and everybody else that's helping me out.
So how can our audience, if there's anybody out there watching who wants to help you in any way, what do you need? How can they reach you? What's the deal?
Well, so I do sell merch. They're just shirts with my name on them, like some pictures of me riding and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw you at Philly with your setup. Yeah.
Yeah. If you go on my Instagram and stuff, you can go on there and you can DM me, and we can always get you a shirt out. They're, depending on what shirt they are, they're all different prices, but
Sure.
everything that you guys purchase from me and stuff like that just goes towards racing. It goes towards gas, it goes towards the fuel, it goes towards food and all that. Every weekend we pretty much sleep out of the van or close rounds. Like hopefully this weekend I think we'll be taking a motor home, so we'll be sleeping out of that. But
Yeah.
that's about it.
Cool. So where's Pop at? Is he still around?
Yeah, he's right here.
Hey, Barry.
Hey,
Cory.
Yes.
Who's faster? You or the old man? All right, Barry, who's going to win the 250 class this year? 450 class.
250 title is gonna go to Davies.
You think Davies?
Yeah. Shimoda's good. Davies hopefully stronger. Good kid. But I hope they both have fun, and it turns out to be a good series. 450. I think the strongest guy is going to win this year, which is Hunter. Jet's faster. All the years Jet won, I guess Hunter had to suck it up, and I think Jet's having a hard time even just after this weekend.
Yeah.
So,
the motivation's there, and Hunter's been riding. He's been, he's.
Yeah, Hunter's very strong, and that's what it takes to win an outdoor national championship.
I really thought he was going to get the Supercross win this year. He just had some things happen there at the end.
Yeah.
Well, them Suzuki's though, you can't mess with them Suzuki's.
No, that worked out great for Suzuki, but I think everybody's mind, it was awesome for Kenny.
Yeah,
Kenny
no
did
doubt.
a lot of stuff. Hunter's going to be around five more years. He's going to have every more opportunity
Yeah.
to do
Kenny,
it.
maybe not, right? Yeah. Yeah.
No, I think Hunter will have an opportunity to win again.
Right.
And just one injury like that, and next thing you know, you're sidelined or you're off the pace a little bit. So
Yeah, it don't take much, right? Yeah. You
So-
got a pro tip for your fellow racers, Barry Carsten, fast guy. Iron
Well, I got two tips. First, you got to love it because there's not a lot of money in it. And second tip, it's hard. I mean, when you do a 30-minute moto plus 2 laps, you're excited. If you did good, it's great. If you did bad, it's miserable.
Right.
But then when you go out to the second moto, you got to do it again.
Yeah.
And you do good that moto, and you start beating factory guys that are getting paid to do this. That's when it's fun. You know what I mean? And so that's my tip. You gotta love it, and it's hard. So
Cool. Good advice. Good advice from an old pro. How about you, Cory? Pro tips?
My pro tip is this comes kind of based off of me is
stay off the ground.
we'll stay off the ground.
I never figured that one out. So anyhow.
But I mean, everybody when you're young just tells you for practice to kind of just go out there, be safe, go slow, learn the track and all that. But as soon as you turn pro, for me, like practice is the most important thing of the day, is because you have to throw these fast qualifying laps down. And since I never really done that when I was younger or coming up, it's hard to go out there and just throw a amazing fast lap down. Like in practice, your 5 minutes that you're on the track, you got to throw pretty much your fastest lap of the day down so you can qualify into the races. So for me at my level, like the hardest part of the day is in the morning, is qualifying all that. Once I make the races, I'm like, my day's
Pressure's off, right? Yeah.
It's not over, but the hardest part of the day is over. Now I just go out there and have fun, and I try
do
to
your thing. Yeah.
like the best I can for 30 minutes, So
And good advice. What's the future for you? You gonna keep chasing?
yeah, I'm gonna keep chasing as long as I can. Hopefully I do want to go back to Loretta's soon, in probably the 25 plus class, and maybe when I get older too. I would love to do that.
He'll be in the 30 by the time. But I don't think
I can't ride.
Oh yeah, 30 can't. So it will be 25.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
27. Okay.
So when you guys were asking about the best results, my best results was at Loretta Lynn's when the COVID happened and we had those nationals at Loretta's.
Yeah.
I went 17-19
Okay.
for I think 18th overall. So I got points. That was my first time getting points. So that doesn't allow me to ride the sportsman classes at Loretta's.
Okay.
So
for those that don't know, anything under a 20th place overall, you're earning pro points, right? You're earning points. And then that disqualifies you from some things amateur wise.
For Loretta's and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why he can't go there and ride the 45. He has to ride the 40 and the 50. So
Too fast, too many times.
Too fast.
Too fast.
Yep. But
some strategy to it, huh? Two guys.
Yeah.
A lot of strategy. Be prepared.
Yeah, that's a big tip too.
Yeah, just being prepared for the weekend. Knowing what you're going to, what the weather's going to be like, what you're going to endure. Just be ready.
Yep. Yep. So what's next? Southwick, right?
Yeah, Southwick this weekend. So hopefully that goes great. It's a good track. I had a good results there last year, so hopefully we can do it again this weekend. So after Red Bud, we went to Canada again for Gopher Dunes race there. That was a full-blown sand track, so hopefully that got me a little
That said, you fell down, busted a wrist or something. You hurt your wrist or something, or we don't want to let the
so
let
first
the competition know
moto.
that.
Yeah, first moto, I had a bad start, had to come through the pack, and I finished 9th. And second moto, had a better start. I think we were about maybe 10 or 15 minutes into the moto, and I was running about 11th or 10th. And there was just a whole freight train of us in a pack. And there's like a little like sand roller, like dragging us back. I was going up that, and then you race down to a big anthill, and it was all ruddy, and I just went to cut back to the inside, and my front kind of tucked over the roller, and I just went down. And when I went down right in my hand, and my fingers just bent all the way back almost to my wrist. my hands all,
Yeah,
my hands
yeah,
all swelled
yeah.
up right now.
Yeah.
So I've been icing it, and
Yeah, keep some ice on it.
yeah,
You got a
it
couple of
hurts.
days yet. You'll be fine. Wrap it up with some duct tape and go, right, Barry?
Yeah.
Yeah, we took the day off from riding to do our podcast, and it rained all last night. Our sand pit would have been perfect to go riding, but
Yeah, yeah.
we wanted to do this, so.
Well, we appreciate you guys being on for sure. Please share it around. Well, it's on my Jim Bull Facebook page. I'm going to put a link on YouTube, my YouTube page as well. So share it around with your friends, get people to subscribe. Speaking of that, guys, I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're watching this show, please hit that button. What do they say? Ring the bell, hit the button, subscribe. I don't know. That's young guy stuff. I don't know anything about that. Robbie, Frank, you going to be at the Dutchman this weekend or for
Yeah.
MDRA or?
Yeah, I'll be
we'll
there.
Be there.
Okay, and then we got the shootout coming up the week after back at Dublin, Mama MDRA, I think. In
Yep,
2
I'll be
weeks. We'll
there.
see you guys there.
Yep.
All right. Well, anybody else got anything before we split?
Oh, just want to.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thank
man.
you.
I appreciate y'all being
Yeah.
on for sure. It's been fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I just
fun.
want to thank Suzuki and everything because I mean they're great brand and I'm glad I picked them to be on to ride them for. I mean, I've been riding Suzuki for 20 years now, maybe
I'm
more.
certainly glad that there's still a brand because when I was still selling bikes way back, when Cowie and Suzuki did some of that merger stuff, they were saying that, Fuji Industries, Cowie was going to take Suzuki right out of it and that their days were limited. But their history is way too deep from their street
Yeah.
lineups to their dirt bike stuff.
Yeah.
They've been around way too long. We can't lose them for sure.
I mean, yeah, they took me like places I never thought I'd be. I mean, Barry was there the year I got the top 12 in the country in contingency, so I got to go ride at the goat farm with Ricky
Cool.
Carmichael.
With Ricky, yeah.
And then I'm down at Mini O's and Ricky was there for Triumph and he's like, I remember you. You were at my goat farm. And I said, yeah. I said, I was the tall guy that said I'm too tall for this sport. And he laughed and he goes, yeah, that's right. So he remembered me and stuff. So that was cool.
That's a cool feeling, I bet, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I got into Suzuki with West Shore. Remember West Shore Suzuki?
Yeah, Bill
The
Toth, yeah.
Yep. The Toss, Michelle, and them. Yep.
Yeah.
That's when I started riding, and I went in there and bought one, and they take me to the races with Willie and Garrett sometimes and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Another great racing
Yep.
family. So, yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys and girls, thanks for being on. I appreciate it a lot. We'll see y'all at the racetrack soon, okay?
All
Yep.
right.
All right.
See you
All
guys.
right,
Thanks for
later.
having
All
us.
right.
See you this weekend, Robbie.
And don't forget
Thanks.
to come up and say hi.
Yep.
Yep.
All right,
All right.
guys. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to episode number 4, Team Suzuki, Local USA, Factory Pro. I don't know what we are, man. We're talking good stuff. Don't forget our suspension sponsor for today's event. I know none of our guests on here ride with Reese out of Pro Action, but Pro Action, pro-action newjersey.com. Your suspension should work for you, not against you. That's what Reese says. Give them a call, 856-204-2195. Don't listen to my phone ringing in the background. Later, everybody.
Go Suzuki.
See ya.
All right. Bye.